What's up, ghouls and ghosts? Welcome to Forgemaster Metal Reviews, the place where you can get the most out of your metal.
It's Friday, which means that it's close to Halloween. It's time to round up our favorite metal albums of October. What are your favorite picks of the month? Leave those in the comments. While you're doing that, murder that like button and slash subscribe if you're new.
Sharpen your stakes and polish your crucifix, folks. It's time to round up our best picks for the best of October. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Blood Red Throne's Imperial Congregation was put out early this month in Nuclear Blast. For 20-something years, Blood Red Throne has owned the Norwegian death metal scene. Between 2003 and 2016, the band continued to hammer out full lengths, releasing 7 albums in 13 years. Some of these albums are monumental, but others have fallen short of what we know the band is really capable of. So, where do we stand with Imperial Congregation? This is hands down a top contender for one of the best death metal records of the year. I definitely missed out on a few other albums, like on your picks, because I couldn't stop spinning this one. There are devastating riffs, overwhelming brutality, and vertebrae-tearing grooves. There are hidden key changes that keep it more on the melodic side versus the gross dissonance that death metal bands typically lean into. It's really nice. A couple underwhelming solos and half-baked technical sections really keep this from being a perfect record. But this is the death metal album I've wanted from these guys for a long time. 4.8 out of 5 Splintered Corpses. An album of the year contender for sure.
Worm, Foreverglade, released 22 October on $20 spin. This year's been pretty light on Killer Doom, and finally, we've got something in the Death Doom / Funeral Doom vein that bores worms in your fucking skulls. I'll go as far to say that Foreverglade by Worm is going to be my favorite Death Doom album of 2021 easily, and it beats out Hooded Menace, so that means it's really fucking awesome. The subtle yet heavy use of synths on the album was a fantastic touch to kick up those atmospheric vibes, and made me have a huge appreciation for those killer production jobs throughout the 45-ish minute runtime of Foreverglade. I thought Hooded Menace, like I said, was gonna get the Death Doom crown this year, but I was wrong. Worm fucking gets it. The songwriting is something that's a total monument of filth to behold, and I think Worm just made a Death Doom album that I will revisit every single fucking year. Yes, it's that good. 4.8 out of 5 Green Mist Crypts.
Norwegian post-metalers She Said Destroy have arisen from their 9-year slumber. Their third full-length album, Succession, was released on October 15th on Maskina Records. Simply based on the album cover, I was expecting some real post-hardcore inspired tracks, but I was really pleasantly surprised when the album presented itself as being much more diverse than your typical Converge copy pasta. There are elements of melodic death, sludge, and even some black metal here and there. If you're missing out on what Death Heaven was doing in the early days, I recommend checking out Succession. When they aren't leaning into the post-metal inspirations, they attack you with riffs that are punishing and groovy as hell, reminding me of my favorite moments from bands like Helmet, Pantera, or the Acacia Strain. This is one of my favorite post-metal albums. I'm eager to check out their critically acclaimed 2008 record, This City Speaks in Tongues. Succession is great, so I'm giving it 4.6 out of 5 metamorphosizing statues.
All will fall, and Kaiser will die. Assassination.
1914, Where Fear and Weapons Meet. Released 22 October on Napalm Records. 2018's The Blind Leading the Blind was one of the best black metal records of that year, and easily in my top 5 war-themed black metal albums, period. It's clear that 1914's sound has evolved since 2018, and my god, do the war tanks of black metal riff 'em fucking thunder. on this record. You've still got that black metal, old school death metal roots in there, but the artillery has been upgraded with melodic death metal riffing, symphonic elements engulfed in the war smoke of fucking black gaze. This album is going to sit in my favorite extreme metal albums of all time list. It's that fucking good. I haven't given out that many perfect scores this year, but this one absolutely deserves it. 5 out of 5 blood-soaked war trenches.
Dude, I'm right with you on this one. I cannot get over how good this album is. My first endeavor into 1914, and they've just blown me away with this one. 5 out of 5 all day. Dying Wish is a metalcore band from Portland, Oregon that has unleashed their debut full-length album Fragments of a Bitter Memory on Sharptone Records. If you can't tell already, I'm a sucker for post-hardcore influenced metal, and if you're releasing something that was inspired by Thursday, Hopesful, or Shai-Hulud, I want to hear that shit. Fragments of a Bitter Memory already has an uphill battle coming out of the gate because there are just hundreds of metalcore albums to stack up against, and this is a genre that's been around for at least 20 years. So, how does Dying Wish stack up? It's well-paced. It's paced like a hardcore record with 11 tracks at a total of 35 minutes of a runtime. There are moments of sheer violence on here, reminding me of the blistering punk-inspired riffs from the mid-2000s hardcore scene. I love the vocal diversity on this record. It really stood out. Besides some of the songwriting moments, it's the vocals that really sets this album apart from the hundreds of other metalcore records. Dying Wish, Svalbard, and The Lion's Daughter need to put on a concert. That would be awesome. I'm not sure I would survive it with my old body, but if you love these bands, you are going to love Dying Wish. Fragments of a Bitter Memory, great debut, gets 4.4 out of 5 damaged paintings.
Extreme Cold Winter World Exit released 15 October on Hammerheart Records, a band I have not heard of, so I'm glad that I took World Exit for a spin because I found one of the best melodic doom metal albums of fucking 2021. Yes, it is that great. There's one word that comes to mind every single time I spin this record, and that is might. Every song has an extremely mighty and heavily melodic presence that kept me coming back. I've always loved the titanic presence of that massive wall of melodic sound that Paul Bearer had on their earlier discography. If you enjoy that type of thing, you'll be right at home with Extreme Cold Winter. 4.2 out of 5 really cold days.
British black metalers Cradle of Filth cannot be stopped and are continuing their dark conquest of the gothic metal scene, this time with Existence is Futile, Nuclear Blast. I've been a Filth fan, a filthy boy, if you will, for quite some time now, along with you, with the expectation that Danny and his squad are going to deliver highly melodic, highly gothic, and highly catchy black metal albums. I gotta say, Existence is Futile has absolutely checked all of these marks. The melodic passages are very reminiscent of Midian and Cruelty and the Beast era, our favorite. The drumming is tempestuous. Danny sounds as demonic as ever. So with all this high praise, why isn't it an Album of the Year contender? There's just too much fluff on this record, unfortunately. Where Fear and Weapons meet is 7 minutes shorter than this record, and it absolutely does not feel as long as Existence is Futile does. They could have easily left a few songs on the production room floor, and it would have been just as good, if not better, dare I say. Existence is Futile, a mighty good record from Cradle of Filth, 4.6 out of 5, Mass Extinctions.
Totally agree with you there. There's some banger tunes on it, though. Knocked Loose, A Tear in the Fabric of Life, released 13 October on Pure Noise Records. I love when metalcore bands borrow from death metal, and I'll admit, this EP was my first experience with the highly beloved and worshipped Knocked Loose. The first thing I notice is how unbelievably pristine and fucking dynamite the production is on this release. There's so many twists and turns, there's pop references. I love the sample from the 60s pop song God Only Knows. The songs feel like you've been recklessly spinning a sledgehammer in a kitchen, connecting with glassware and cabinets and laying waste. with everything fucking around you. My favorite thing about this band, though, is the vocals. The visceral intensity and the pain of a screaming madman wanting nothing more than to rip the life from your fucking skull. One of my favorite releases of 2021, again, and I cannot wait to spin this in the gym and just fucking destroy it. 4.2 out of 5 swirling sledgehammers.
Psychedelic prog rockers Altesia have independently released their sophomore record, Embryo. This French band is pretty new, having released their debut record, Paragon Circus, back in 2019. And I'm not usually a fan of this variety of prog. It's often a little too pretentious and doesn't incorporate good songwriting to keep me intrigued enough along the whole journey. Altesia has kept me hooked, though, from the very beginning to the end with Embryo, showcasing a brilliant balance between heavy-ass syncopations and melodic atmospheres. They masterfully transition from jazz influences to psychedelic prog and back to metal. This is a heartfelt album that all you prog fans really need to get your ears on. This will go great with your Dream Theater, Between the Buried and Me, and Haken playlists. Embryo gets 4.6 out of 5 floating vessels.
Havukruunu, Ku Erkylän Yllä, released 8 October on Nottermock Productions. Melodic black metal is one of the most important metal genres to me, and Havukruunu totally won me over with their major breakthrough album, Uinos Soimen Sota. The new EP, although over 35 minutes in length, holds some of the band's earliest compositions reworked to do them justice to the original vision with their current melodic black metal godly abilities. Like their previous album, this release opens up with a title track with a fucking bang, wielding those tremolo melodic black metal riffs with Viking melodies, blast beats, folky guitar riffs, and explosive solos. I love this EP for the fall. It's a fantastic slab of folky black metal to accompany you on some of those leaf-crunching hikes in the woods. It's not quite up to par with their previous release, but there's plenty here to keep your black metal fangs satisfied. 4 out of 5 spooky mountain ghosts.
And what were your favorite albums from October? Be sure to leave some links down below in the comments, and if you haven't yet, cut the throat of that like button and subscribe if you're new.
Go with the gods, Forgemasters. Have a happy Halloween, and remember, see you guys next time.